Hello everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Frieren, episode 13. Almost wanted to say that we are past the midpoint now, but no, I keep forgetting that Frieren has 28 episodes. Right. What happened in the previous one? Maybe. Let's just start with that. In the previous episode, we learned a couple of things. It was very much a world building, a character building episode. We learned the backstory of Himmel, how he aspired to be a hero, how he always wanted to be a hero, even had a replica sword, and how he set off for the adventure together with his childhood friend Heiter to become a hero, essentially. We know that there have been many more people like them, to the point where the king just completely started disregarding them, throwing them some chump change so that they don't starve on the road at least, but not really caring much about them beyond that point. Is my mic peaking? No, it can't be. And we know that Himmel found the real sword of the hero, tried to pull it out and failed. And despite that, despite not being a real hero, despite being just a fake, he still managed to use his replica sword and defeat the Demon Lord. Together, of course, with Heiter, Frieren, and Eisen. But still, a fake hero performing a real hero deed. That's why the village built around the cave with the hero's sword is protecting it so much, so that nobody can see that, hey, that sword is still there, so what's the deal with Himmel? Was he a hero or was he not, right? They don't want to tarnish his memory, they don't want to tarnish his legend, his legacy. Besides that, we also, in the second half of the episode, we set off to find some gifts for Stark, because he has birthday. That gave us a lot of very interesting shots that people are memeing to hell and back, especially Frieren holding that cloves dissolving potion in her hand and smiling deviously. People have been putting all sorts of things in her hand. And that whole story served to give us a backstory on Stark, at least a little bit. We know his upbringing, we know that only his brother really cared about him, and we know that he never really got any birthday presents, not from his family, not from Eisen. And then we learn that no, he was mistaken. He was getting birthday presents. The big ass Hamburg steak. That is the present. That is the birthday present for a warrior who does his best. And yeah, that was a really nice moment. Both from like a character standpoint and from a world building standpoint, right? The very fact that there are some widespread cultures of warriors, not just a human culture or a dwarven culture, but a culture of warriors, where a big hamburger steak is a sign, it's a birthday gift for those who work hard, right? It's interesting, and we finished with that. So now we will probably continue the journey to get Frieren properly licensed so that we can continue our journey undisturbed. Whether we will arrive to the Academy City in this episode, or we're gonna spend some time in the city they are in right now, or we're gonna have another episode of travel, I don't know. I have no way of knowing, could be either way, and all I know is that I'm probably gonna like it. What's there not to like, right? There hasn't been any episodes of Frieren yet that would be in any way disappointing. So yeah, good shit. And I trust them to continue making good shit. So I guess we should just start watching this episode, right? You will need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what is going on. Am I framed correctly? I am. And I'm also gonna have to ask you guys for your support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, cost to nothing, helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 13 of Frieren in 3, 2, 1, go. Who are you? Wait, did I miss an episode or something? What? The last episode I uploaded was episode 12. And this is episode 13. Okay, I didn't miss an episode. I really was confused there for a moment. But okay, I guess we are starting in medias res, and we are meeting with a person who wears clothes that share a striking resemblance to the clothes that Graf Granat was wearing. I wonder if we're gonna get a second opening. Right? Usually episode 13 would be the time to get a second opening. But I guess because it's 28 episodes, then we can expect second opening in episode 15 or so. If at all. I mean, it's not a given that there is going to be one. I love this chorus part. Also, there's an amazing artist on Twitter who's drawing Frieren with progressively bigger and bigger and bigger ears. That's the content I still have an account on X, formerly known as Twitter. Okay, who are you though? Who are you? Oh. Okay. Uh, uh, don't you have a cleaning spell? Talking about grown-ups to a 1,000-year-old elf. Hello, Fern. Maybe you're gonna help the poor sod. Yeah, fair. Ah, the cat face. I mean, you could reasonably resupply in here. Unless you need something very specialized, I'd imagine basic like food, water, I don't know, clothes or whatever you probably could get in this village. Anti-venom. Okay, so today is a comedic episode. And there's no catch-all antidote spell, I guess. Okay, so we are staying at the village for a while at least. Maybe Eisen with his dwarven constitution, but you aren't a dwarf. Seems fair, actually. Poisonous darts in the room, and whatnot. That's a great picture. Just carried like a stray cat by the scruff of his neck. The person we rescued, of course. That's not a tub, that's a cup. Oh, so you're a priest? Interesting. And there we go. Easy. Please teach that spell to Frieren or Fern. It's gonna be useful with Stark around. A healer. Outstanding by what metric? Oh, Hyper was here. So why does Zine not have this? Or does he, and I just didn't notice? Okay. But for some reason, he didn't take the hand of his adventurer friend. Assuming that story was actually real. Oh? Are we getting a new party member? Or are we just escorting him to the next city over? You could use a healer. And what is it with Fern and eating comically oversized buns? At least cut it or rip it or something. Don't just bite into the loaf of bread. We have our equivalent of Heiter. To a T. Yeah, what's stopping you? Your brother's here. Does he even know how to play? Or is he just going to lose his axe and clothes? The latter. The latter, of course. Yep. And he also lost everything. It's never too late to fulfill your dreams. It's like riding a bike. You never forget it. Yeah, we're not talking about could have beens. We're talking about could be's. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious about the reasoning as well. Okay. I was honestly expecting Frieren to just win it back. The grip. When did you last wash them? You upset Frieren. That was enough. And that probably, yeah. A base for medicine, maybe. Just like you were given a push, yep. Repeating the same mistakes again, huh? Okay, that's actually a good question. What became of him? What became of this friend? Did he never return? Yes. Old priests, like alcohol, tobacco, and gambling. Oh, hey, we actually have one at our disposal, just so happens. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find someone even older. Come on, roll for seduction. Of course. How does a couple thousand years sound? Yeah. She might not look it. Uh, right. Do you have an aging spell or something at your disposal? Okay, I'm afraid. Yeah, that's not gonna work. I mean, yeah, Himmel already had a crush on you, at least. Right. That's exactly why. I mean, yeah, fair assumption. Your time scale is a little bit different, but I'd. That's actually also fair. You don't know if he's actually dead, but he might be dead the next year. And then you're gonna beat yourself over why didn't I go after him the year back, right? That being... Oh, Sign wants to take over this temple so that his brother can go to the capital, probably. Because the village cannot just be left without a priest. I was waiting for the slap. Right, that's also a factor. Whether you make your choice because you're comfortable with it, or you make your choice and then are left to regret it. And he's joining. Or is he going his own way? Okay, are you joining the party or not? Probably not then. Okay, so a temporary party member. And still, nobody besides Frieren has any luggage. No. You're gonna get used to it. Oh, and that's the episode. Okay. A nice, light-hearted, funny episode. Sure. In any other show, I would be expecting shit to hit the fan in the next episode, because we can't be in a lull forever. But it's not the case with Frieren. We can be in a lull forever. Absolutely. And I'm not going to mind it in the slightest. Tell ya what. Oh, there's Sign. He is listed on the list of characters. Lower than Kraft, curiously. And Kraft is higher than Himmel and Heiter and Eisen. Stoltz is higher than Heiter and Eisen. What is this ordering of characters? At least Frieren, Stark, and Fern are at the top, so that checks out. Privilege of the young. Aha. I know. An episode about someone having a crush? That would be my guess. Right? Oh, young love, the privilege of the young, kind of sort of deal. I know, we'll see. But what we will see now is the very same episode again. How's that for a segue? I was really confused at the beginning here. I really thought that I somehow missed a week and this is episode 14, or someone uploaded the incorrect episode, uploaded an episode in advance somehow, or something like that. But no, apparently not. Also, yeah, okay, there's Sign, and that was Sign's friend. Question is he still alive and going around the place and looking at the statues of Frieren and Himmel? Or is this a flashback and this is what inspired him? The story of the hero Himmel inspired him to also become an adventurer. Probable. Yeah, friend invited me to go adventuring, but I didn't go, and I'm regretting it. But if you take my hand, then maybe my fate will change. Just like it would have changed if I took my friend's hand. And of course, Frieren is just unshaken about it. Fern has a better head on her shoulders, thankfully. Oh no, okay, we do see his priestly-ish clothes. Yeah, for a moment I thought that we are like they are purposefully hiding that he's not wearing pants but rather a robe, because we never see his bottom half anywhere. We don't see it even here, so I thought, oh, they're hiding that for an increased shock factor. Well, shock factor, surprise rather. But no, we see that early. Simply for me it was obstructed by subtitles, and even then, not always, I guess. Yeah, you should really watch for things in the bushes. Interesting that Frieren has no universal anti-venom spell yet. I honestly would have expected her to have something, some sort of a universal remedy, or at least to have a repertoire of anti-venom spells that spans all known types of venom in the world, or at least most of them. Eisen was perfectly fine, because he's a dwarf, probably. Dwarven constitution is always better. 20% of adventurers' deaths are due to poison. That actually makes sense. Then again, I guess it depends what we count as poison. Venom is venom poison, I guess it could be. But yeah, it actually makes sense. If you don't have anti-venom with you, if you don't have an antidote for poison, you're not gonna do much. And even then, you have to match the anti-venom to the venom. You have to match the antidote to the poison that you were afflicted with. That is my assumption, at least. I don't know. Maybe they have universal anti-venom. Maybe they have universal antidote. I don't know. This is a great image. Just flying through the skies with no like effects, no sparkles behind them, no magical rings or anything. Just casually scrolling through the sky, holding Stark by the scruff of his neck. His brain will begin to melt. It will flow out of his nose. Scared Frieren. Frieren has some of the best faces in this show, honestly. Perhaps my brother could help. And this is a weird running gag that they have very small appliances. I don't know. I guess it's just supposed to be funny. I mean, it is, in its absurdity, it absolutely is funny. Very comedy-centric episode in general. And a quick heal. And yeah, Sign would absolutely make it as an adventurer. He would be an incredible asset to any adventuring party. Oh, actually, Zine finds his friend, and it turns out that he dies of poison. I could have gone with him. If I went with him, I would be able to cure him and save him, and he would still be alive. The story is just writing itself, isn't it? So Zine's friend turns out... That's not a correct grammatical structure, is it? Zine's friend turns out to have died from poison? Whatever, I know what I mean. Zine's friend turns out to have died from poison, comma, Zine regrets not going with him, joins party. I like the adventurer's life. My friend is no longer there, so I cannot join him. So I'm just gonna continue going with you. Maybe. They really like munching on loaves of bread, don't they? Journey ahead might be safer with a priest. Absolutely. Smoking, gambling, alcohol. How did she manage to wake up Frieren in the middle of the night? She can't even wake up in the morning, let alone in the middle of the night. I'm honestly surprised that Frieren isn't like half asleep here, having to be dragged around by Fern. The village chief did it. It's too late now. Yeah, it's never too late. The best time to do that was back then. The second best time is right now. There's not going to be a better time to do that than now. And Fern just managed to easily retrieve the clothes. There is someone she treats worse than Stark. I guess that's an improvement for Stark. He's no longer bottom of the barrel. People who gamble are the worst. Don't you know? It's the best medicine. I love Fern's skewed image of priests. Like, if a priest drinks, that's a good priest. Mr. Heiter was drunk and he was a good priest, and he told me that alcohol is good. So that means if a priest drinks, that's a great priest. But gambling, oh, no siree. Gambling bad. I love her skewed perspective on it. Science should become an adventurer. Also, I really love how much they changed their clothes. I think I mentioned it multiple times already, but it really bears mention how you can see them going around in their like lower layer clothes, or in undergarments even, or wear warm coat in winter, right? You comparatively, relatively rarely see that in anime. Usually the character gets a piece of armor, a suit of armor, and just wears it throughout the series. Maybe changes it like once or twice, but not really anymore, right? You have high, like shows that take place at a high school and everybody wears their seifuku or serafuku 24/7 at school, at the cinema, at a restaurant, wherever and whenever, right? It's common, it's very often. So whenever I see a show that actually has characters not just change their clothes according to weather, but also wear their clothing incomplete, like Stark right now, right? He's not wearing his jacket. That's always a big plus in my book. Might be nice to give someone the push they need, just like you were given that push. Exactly. If you aren't ready now, you can come then, and he never came back, and so Zine never actually went for the adventure either. Sure, he's a priest. It seems Mr. Hyder was a serious priest after all. Fern says with just empty, blank stare. It seems like all priests are drinking, so Mr. Hyder wasn't actually a bad priest. He was serious about being a priest. He was serious about being an alcoholic. That's doubly being a priest. Her like completely blank smiley expression here is amazing. He likes older women. Yeah, but he probably likes mature looking women, not just women who are mature on paper. And the conflict, the inner turmoil he's feeling. She is old, she's very old, but she doesn't look old. Does she qualify or does she not? The ultimate seduction technique. Of course, it worked on those two. It's only been 10 years. If you don't go see him now, you'll regret it in the near future. Yeah, exactly. Sure, he might be dead now, but maybe he isn't. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he is simply in no shape to travel. Maybe he is stuck in some random village and just cannot travel. He's too sick or too injured or something, and he's going to die in 2 years. If you don't set off on your adventure looking for him in 2 years, then you're not gonna find him, and then you're just gonna get a notice somehow on accident that your best friend died, while you could have gone there and meet him for the one last time, right? So you should do it right now. Maybe you're just gonna see his grave. It's possible. But maybe, just maybe, he's still alive, but simply could not come back for whatever reason. Right? It's a fair assumption. It's a reasonable assumption. So, of course, Frieren is absolutely correct here. Again, with the theme of the best time to do that was then, second best time to do that is now. There's not gonna be a better time. You'll wonder if you could have made it in time if you'd gone now. Exactly. And yeah, I can't go because of my brother's sacrifice. I don't want that to go in vain. Yeah. But yeah, the problem is, your brother stayed in this village of his own volition. He wanted to stay here. It's not like he was staying here for your sake explicitly. He wanted to stay here in the first place. It was a bonus that, hey, by the way, it's better for my brother as well to not change his environment. Right? But he stayed of his own volition. You, meanwhile, are staying here, just gritting your teeth and suffering because you have to stay there for someone else's sake. It's not your choice. It's not of your own volition. Those are two very different things. Yeah, we are not the same. Absolutely not. I've never regretted the choice I made. But you have, all this time, constantly. I decided to become an adventurer. Yeah, he's going with us for a little while. And then goes to look for his friend. At least that is the assumption, I guess, the initial drive, the initial motivation. However it's going to turn out, we don't know. Maybe he's gonna stick with us, maybe he's not. Actually, it's possible that his friend is gonna be dead, so he's gonna be like, where did you say you were going? I need to see my friend. I'm going to heaven with you lot. Right? Actually, might as well just note it down. Signs friend is dead, so he decides to travel to heaven as well. And joins the team. There we go. He really doesn't mince words. No, she doesn't, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I could fix her, but whatever's broken with her is way better. I love Fern. Honestly, probably my favorite character in this show. Fern. I like Frieren, don't get me wrong. Her cat face every now and then, her demeanor of a very old but also very spry person, right? I really like it, but nothing beats Fern's character. Nothing. Seems just like someone accustomed to speaking with women. I don't like it. I'm pretty sure that would kill me. What do you mean by understanding relationships? Do you really hate me that much? We're alive. It happens naturally as people age. Those arguments are the privilege of the young. It really feels like the next episode is gonna have to do with someone's crush. Stark's voice screaming, "Do you really hate me that much?" would lead us to believe that maybe Stark has a crush on Fern and Fern doesn't reciprocate, but I don't think that's the case. I think this is a misdirection. I don't know what it's gonna be. Maybe it's gonna be something completely different. I don't know. Maybe it was a part of a flashback. Could very well be. Could very well be. And what be now is the outro. Good episode. Again, there hasn't been a bad episode of Frieren. Simple as that. I really didn't expect an episode that would be this oriented on comedy. I really didn't. Like, we had episodes that were focused on the slice of life bits. We had episodes that were focused on flashbacks. We had episodes that were focused on just chilling and walking around the forest, basically, right? But we didn't have an episode that would be just this crammed with funny events, funny dialogue, funny, like, tiny home appliances, like, right? We haven't had an episode like that. And it works. It surprisingly works. I have to say that this show is kind of like a vertical slice of life. Maybe that's a little bit too poignant, or however you pronounce that word. But just like in life, there is some sadness, there is some struggle, there is some strife, but there is also a lot of laughter, a lot of fun, a lot of ridiculous moments, and Frieren really shows us the whole entire picture. It really seems like a show that would just be labeled as adventure without any secondary genres. Otherwise, it would have to have all of them. Right? What I mean by that is very often, most of the time really, you have shows labeled essentially from the get-go. You have adventure comedy, and you can expect the show to be majorly comedy. It might have some more serious moments here and there, sure, but for the most part, it's just comedy. Take, I don't know, Konosuba, for example, right? Or you might have a show labeled as a romance, drama, tragedy. So you know you are in for a tearjerker. There might be a little bit of jokes, there might be a little bit of laughter. There were a few moments where I laughed watching Clanad. I'm not gonna say there weren't, right? But overall, the genre is this romance, drama, tragedy. And there is no really straying away from it. In case of Frieren, we have it all, really. We have comedy, we have some drama, not particularly much, but there is some more of like a contemplative, something like that kind of drama. We don't really have straight tragedy, rather tragedy through proxy, through those like flashbacks and whatnot, but we have all of it. We haven't had any horror really quite yet, but I honestly fully expect that we will have at least an episode themed after a horror. Walking through some haunted forest in the middle of the night, Stark being scared shitless, and Frieren and Fern just shooting Zolfrak left and right. Like, I fully expect all of that. There is everything in this show, every single facet. And that's why I compared it to Live, because just as Live is multifaceted, this show is also multifaceted. It doesn't just focus on adventure comedy, or adventure drama, or adventure action adventure, right? Whatever the author deems necessary in this show, in this story, it's gonna be here. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I am waiting for the horror episode. I very much am waiting for the horror episode. Actually, I'm just going to note it down. Horror themed episode. Either horror played straight or a spoof on horror genre or something along those lines, but something horror themed I fully expect. And I think that's gonna be it. I don't think I have anything more to say on the topic of this episode, but maybe you guys do, and if so, say so in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? No spoilers, please. Spoilers can go to my Discord here, also in the description below. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos of not only Frieren, but also Magia Record, Shangri-La Frontier, Helk, Shy, plenty of others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified when I go live, because I do sometimes. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, linked it down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Magia Record, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube via memberships, super thanks, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Don't feel obliged to. Share my content, spread the word. It costs you nothing and helps a lot. And with that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! What did I do? Well, there we go. And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without a Nedek, with Survivor, Zayrainer, Akamaster, Dr. What, UK, Ali Fazal, and Hans Peter. And you can join them without having to gamble away your clothes.